Hey guys, what's up? This is your bro Huzzy_gamer, and today we're going to be playing Infinite Flight Simulator. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm just going to be doing a little tutorial, and from the time I taxi to the runway to the time I actually land on the runway. So yeah, let's just start. So I'm going to be flying the state-of-the-art Boeing 767-300. This plane I think you need to purchase, but it's a really good plane. It's quite easy to handle. We're going to be flying in London, which also you need to buy this map. We're going to be flying from London Heathrow. We're going to start at parking X105. So let's just do these settings. Visibility 50 kilometers. Let's add a bit of wind velocity and gust, and add moderate turbulence. Just change the temperature. Temperature doesn't really matter. And we're going to be flying at noon. So let's just start with it. So I'm going to be showing you how to taxi the plane to the runway and how to take off properly, how to use the autopilot, and then we'll start the approach. This game, IFS, is known as, or Infinite Flight Simulator. That's why if you're probably wondering what IFS stands for, on my username is Infinite Flight Simulator. This game actually costs £5 or £4.49 on the Play Store and App Store. So if you want to go, it's really good. It's actually realistic. So here we are, guys. Oh, just don't want to change that. Oh, distance, yeah. So this is the plane itself. We are flying a British Airways. That's the 767-300. So as you can see, we are at our parking gate. Just turning up the volume. Just going to check that the spoilers work. Okay, that's good. Alright, so we can actually start now. We're going to have to turn the brakes off. And we're going to request for pushback, as we need to get onto the taxi. So as you can see, my plane is moving back. Just keep it controlled, just keep it straight. So yeah, you just wait while the pushback's happening. So this is London Heathrow Airport. It's not actually real. Oh yeah, we need to turn the seatbelt and no smoking sign on for the passengers. So we just need to turn like this. As you can see, like the nose wheels turns. Just keep it controlled. So it doesn't have to be exact, just make sure you're on the line. It is quite hard. So let's just stop the pushback there. So by now okay, that isn't really that straight, but oh. So right now the pilot, if this was real life, would start all the electrical systems, just the engines. So we've already got the engines running. So one of the tricks to taxi is that you need to actually zoom in on the map so you can see the full length of the runway and you can see which way we need to go. So we need to actually get to the front of runway 27 right. So as you can see, my plane isn't very angled that straight. So we turn the brakes off. So pushback has stopped and we need to just apply some thrust. So yeah, let's go. Just turn on the... Oops. I'm just going to calibrate it. Okay, so now we're actually lined up now. Okay, so now we just follow the line. We shouldn't exceed anywhere above 20 knots while taxiing. And when we're turning, we need to slow down a bit as we don't want to overshoot the line. So you can see that's 20 knots. We don't want to exceed. Oops. On the brakes. So you just continue following the line. So I'm just going to confirm we're taking off on 27 right. Okay, that's confirmed. Okay, so as you can see, if you haven't realized, guys, this bar, this is the altitude. So currently we're still on the ground, and according to the altimeter, we're 96 feet above sea level. And this is our speed right here, guys, 17 knots. So I'm just going to be doing a short flight, guys, from one airport to the other. But I wish IFS would, I wish there would be like an update where you could do long haul flights, like flights to other countries, and they should really just, yeah, make these airports more realistic. Even though it's already realistic, but they should add like a jetway or something. We just continue taxiing here. So that's just a flap system, guys. I'll show you about that when we take off, because we need to have takeoff flaps, but we don't do that just yet. So we just continue taxiing now. So even though my thrust is at 0, I'm still gradually increasing my speed. So just turn on the brakes as I've got another turn. Just add a little bit of power. Oh, this is quite a hard turn. It doesn't have to be exact on the dot. I mean, like, you could sometimes just miss it a bit, but it's better not to. It's better to be more accurate. So I think our heading, once we're on the runway, should face us west, which will be 270. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we're actually coming close to the runway now. We just need to, so this is just the last bit. Now, after this turn, we'll be turning onto the runway now. Just put on the brakes as I've got another turn. So our power's at 6%. Okay, so here we are now. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, so as you can see now, guys, the runway is just right there. Right now, we would just stop here if this was the live mode. But as there's no planes, we can just proceed onto the runway. As you can see that line there. Okay, so there we are, guys. I've on the options, I've put on guidelines to help me like find the runway, which is another easy thing if you're not really good at taxiing. But I don't know, I just like to keep it on. It's helpful sometimes. Okay, so here we are now, guys. 27 right. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop here now. Just line up with the center of the runway. Okay, so it's not exactly the center, but oh well. Okay. So, just before we're about to take off, we need to set our flaps to 20 degrees. So that would help us with our lift. And we would turn on, this is the point where we turn on the landing lights turned on. All the other lights turned on, yep. And so as I take off, I'll be calling out 3 speeds, which is 80 knots, as that just reminds the pilot that you're entering a dangerous speed bracket. And when I say V1, which will probably be around 135 knots or 130 knots, depending how far down I am on the runway, as that actually alerts me and tells me that I can no longer abandon the takeoff now. And VR, also known as rotate, is just the speed that we can just lift off. And then I'll say V2, which is the speed where we can climb safely. and gear up once we're above 200 feet. As you can see, I'll let you know when. So flaps 20 degrees, so now we're going to take off now, so brakes off. So we just need to put the thrust on 50% first to let the engine spoil. As you can see, the engine increasing. Then we need to put N1, also known as 100%. Okay, so just look at my speed coming. Okay, so 80 knots. Okay, V1. We can no longer VR rotate. Okay, so V2. Positive rate, gear up. Now this is the point where we will landing gear. Okay, so now guys, we can just zoom out. I don't know if you noticed guys, but as I started taking off, my plane just started slamming to the right. Sorry guys. So as you can see, when we're taking off, you don't want to exceed anywhere above 250 knots, which we just did. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn on the autopilot and I'm going to put the flaps back to 0 so we can increase time. So I'm just going to set it to I'm going to just set that to 6,000 feet. Okay, so like I said guys, we'll be heading west as 270, anywhere near there tells us that. So once the autopilot's on, you can just take off the seatbelt sign off, turn off the nav lights. So we're going to keep the landing lights on as this is just a short flight. So if we look on the map here, you can see where we're going. So we're going to be going to EGLJ. So we need to turn to a heading of 304. So as you can see, what you do with the autopilot is just, it's in the name. It flies the plane for you. It's on automatic. So you can set your speed to 240 knots, which, as we don't want to exceed 250, you can just turn that and just put that up a bit there. And then it just automatically just flies the plane for you. This VS, or vertical speed, is how fast your plane is climbing. So 1,900 feet per minute. So for every minute it's climbing that much. So as you can see, we're coming close to 6,000 feet, and my VS is starting to decrease now. It's starting to kind of level out the plane. And once you've turned on the speed for the autopilot, there's something called auto throttle, which basically the plane, or the throttle of the plane, just moves by itself. It's on automatic. So there we are guys, that's 6,000 feet, we're flying level. So now our distance is shown here, which is 14.7 nautical miles. If you just put on the ETE to destination, that's how long it will take to get there. So about 3 minutes. Once we start getting a minute and a half, that's when we'll start a descent, or even 2 minutes. So as you can see, this is just a really short flight, a 3-minute flight. So if you just click here, we can see our plane is currently on course. Not too bad. I think I could line it up a bit more by just turning here, as I just want to match up with the pink line. So there we go guys, as you can see, EGLJ is right there. So by now, we would disconnect the autopilot now. Now we would start a descent. So we're still 10 nautical miles away. So we just set the flaps to 15 or 5. And I just normally just turn on the spoilers onto flyers. That just helps to reduce speed. So we just need to descend at about 2,000 feet per minute. Just going to turn the throttle down a bit. So Once that's done, you can extend your flaps even more. Yep, to 30, and just put the landing gear down. So as you can see, we're still a bit high up, but we just need to lose a bit more. So we just need to go at a rate of 2,000 feet per minute. So as you can see, my speed is gradually decreasing. So we just want to create drag on our plane. So we'll be landing at runway, I believe, runway 13. Generally, if you're too high up, the pilots would just make another 360 degrees turn, which you can just do.
2,500.
So that's just that. So that's just the altimeter reading 2,500. We're actually 3,000 feet above. 3,000 feet above above sea level. But because of the terrain, sometimes the radio altimeter may read it wrong, which can be quite confusing. So you can just turn on the brakes now. So this is the final approach, guys. So as you can see, these red gates are just like guidelines again to help you. So this plane is actually quite easy to handle. Okay. So once I land, as well as this, by now you would put the spoilers on armed. So as you can see, when we tested it before, you can see that the spoilers just came up. And I'll also be using the reverse thrust, which is just basically the opposite of thrust. Instead, the engine will be spinning a different way. So we just need to gradually increase the thrust. About 500 feet now, according to the altimeter. We just need to gradually increase speed, as we don't want to stall the plane completely.
300.
So I'll show you what the reverse thrust will do. So we're just landing at 100. Okay, we're still kinda high up. Oh, look at the smooth, look at the tarmac on the ground.
100.
Okay, so we're at 100.
40. 20. 10.
So to use reverse, okay, that's a mistake. So as you can see, I'm using reverse thrust. I'm dragging the thrust even more down below 7%. So look what. So yeah. So yeah, guys, that's basically it. As you can see, look how much of the runway is used. Not that much. It's quite a light plane, so it stopped more easily. There's less momentum. So that's it, guys. So I'm just gonna retract the flaps back up, keep the brakes on. So that's basically it, guys. It's really easy to get a handle of this plane. Also, this game is quite easy as well. Yeah, so if you want to get this game, it's really good. It's a really good simulator. I really enjoy playing it. Yeah, so thanks guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. I've actually done a previous video on this, which is on the Qatar Airways. I'm not talking in it. It's just like another flight with the Qatar boarding music. It's quite good. My next videos would most likely be Plants vs Zombies Survival Endless, or even Plants vs Zombies 2 or Roblox. So any one of those three. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. Leave a like on, please subscribe. Thank you for all those people who have subscribed. I've actually got 45 subscribers. I didn't even realize. So really thank you to all of you who contributed to that. Okay, so thanks guys for watching.